Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, the death of an entire generation of our tribe mates left Moonstone with plenty of work on her hands. She's actually quite used to being the only creature who can set our tribe mates to rest, because she once was the only remaining member of the shaman line. Thankfully, she has plenty of babies now to help her with the job, but the most important one so far has to be Onyx. He was the only baby who was born with a digging paw, so that means he, at the very least, can go around digging those graves for all of these skeletons. And unfortunately, Moonstone is going to be leaving quite a few of them behind. He's even going to have to put his own mother's soul to rest before he even grows his final gem. So Onyx has a big destiny, but so does some of her other babies like Quartz, who has taken on the role as one of our new beacons. I'll bet Taduke would see that as a great sign for his mission. He might even send them off in search of some more food to eat. We'll bring Wildfire down to the grass, and then Quartz can hopefully follow, and we'll see if maybe they can get lucky and stumble their way directly into some new berry bushes. Yeah, Taduke's main mission is going to be just trying to increase their food supplies. He wants to do his mother proud after all, and that was one of the problems that she left on his shoulders. So they need to find more berry bushes to pick from, but more than that, they need to impress Vankir again. He's the one that's going to give them the rain that they so desperately need. I'm actually wondering if somebody like Ash might be right for the job. I'm sure that Vanta, by now that he's grown to trust the little guy so much, it's not as if any fires have truly been popping up in their wake. They've spent all of their time on this side of the island by those swamp ports that we're going to use in the future, and all of our fires have still been contained, where Medley has kept up her presence. So Vanta no longer fears Ash for what he might become, but he knows that others in the tribe aren't so willing to open their eyes. So maybe he would hope that he and Ash can find a way to appease the god of the harvest too. And maybe they'll even be able to enlist the help of some other nimble-fingered creatures. Creatures like Honeycomb, still stumbling his way clumsily through the tall grass, and Petal as well, who's trying her best to lead him in the right direction. He strikes me as somebody who's probably not too focused either, like he just drifts in whatever direction takes his fancy. So in all honesty, these two haven't gotten too much accomplished, but hopefully that's about to change. Let's make sure that we're keeping an eye on our rogue males too, if they're still around somewhere out here. It looks like they all may have disappeared. I'm so sad that Hornet's partner isn't going to be able to make it back to the nest to see the new little baby that they wanted to raise together. He picked this exact moment to skitter off to the other side of the island. There you are, little guy. And now because these creatures aren't so friendly toward him, he's going to be passing away on the next turn. So that means Hornet is actually going to have to raise this child all by himself. Unless maybe the rogue male's brother decides to get involved, because he's been hanging around there quite a bit too. But I know Dukuta would want to be right by his mate's side as she passes, so he can also see their very final baby together. I really hope that we have another baby born with that digging paw though. Onyx is going to need so much help to keep all of those souls satisfied. Then we have Medley and her two little flames, who have just been greeted by some very strange creatures. She's not used to stumbling into anyone who truly wants to get to know her. Valentine was following in her trail because he remembers her from the first Great Fires, and Dusty just wants to know more about the fires in general. I guess he's a little bit of a scholar in a way. He wants to know where the fires are coming from. He wants to see if maybe they're destroying any potential resources. So we'll bring him up to the front to discover a permanent nest, okay. So this definitely used to be a camp of some sort, but now it's just a ring of ashes. Medley is not going to be too trusting of these creatures either way. She doesn't think that they could possibly really want to get to know her. In fact, she probably thinks that they're just trying to chase her and her children off some more. But her little flames might see this differently. They've never felt what Melody had to go through when she was being chased off by the rest of the tribe. So maybe Harmony would be a bit more curious about these strangers. Maybe she would want to hear stories about their homelands, where they came from, and I'm sure Valentine would be more than willing to supply her with any answers. He probably has plenty of stories to share. Oh, she could even teach him some of her songs. I'll bet that the little flames still do practice that side of their family's ways too, though their songs are probably a bit more ominous than they used to be. Melody probably only remembers those songs of warning, and that would be a good way to show that a fire is looming in the distance. But I think that's all of our turns taken care of. So let's see what Moonstone's very final baby is going to look like. Oh, it's a female. Oh, thank goodness. Another female that is exactly what we need. She has the digging paw. She has the beautiful white crown of ram horns too. So the crown of bones that our shamans were originally known for. That must mean that she's very connected to her ancestors. Maybe that even means that she's destined to take on the main role, the head of the shaman household, if you will. And Onyx is more bound to the bluebird family, just like how Zircon was bound to the bees and the bears. And do you have the lean body? Oh no, that's so disappointing. He only has the lean body and his inactive traits. But I mean, it's a start. It's more than we had before. So maybe somehow we'll be able to weasel that into our lines in the future. But let's name our shaman baby first. Typically we name these guys after different types of gemstones, and since she has those lovely blue eyes, I think Sapphire would be a pretty good name for her. And now Hornet, as he still waits for the return of his partner, would need to find a good name for their baby too. And I think he might actually name this little one Soot, because of that dark fur, of course. Probably reminds him of the fires that were cropping up in the distance. Though it seems as if this one may have stopped. Oh, does that mean that this one is gone too? Yeah, all of our fires have actually been put out. Well, kind of. This one seems to be spreading a little bit more, but the main blaze has burned to a crisp. So Dusty, you will be very interested to explore that area soon. I just want to make sure that no other fires are out here to surprise us. So far, so good. So our deities are truly taking pity upon our nurseries. It might even be the presence of Ash himself that managed to douse those flames. Even though we didn't have any rainfall to give us more food or to cool this area down, just the fact that he's searching for some sort of solution seemed to do him some good. So this would be a great way for Petal and Honeycomb to potentially stumble straight into our little bandits, and maybe they can try to enlist their help in their journeys. We'll see if maybe we can sniff out any big berry bushes to pick for Vankir and lay off as some offering. We have a permanent nest out here. I guess that's a good sign. We might as well clear out this area, because somebody could probably use that if they wanted to start a family out here. There's not much in the ways of food, but we rarely have good areas to pick from by our nests. That's why Hornet was so lucky when he found these two shriveled up berry bushes right next to the rogue male's home. But Bee, why don't you leave the baby to your brother? And hopefully you can find Zircon again, your little shaman follower who has now grown his final gem. I wonder if having him nearby would have helped? Since he does have some connection to the shamans, maybe that would have been enough to call forth the spirit of Crescent and give their baby a bit more luck. We'll have to try to remember that for the future. But Onyx, you need your special shaman gems too. And to Duke, now you can truly take on the bluebird feathers like you were meant to. We can even change his rank over to the Alpha, so he is now our official leader. And he looks so different from most of our leaders recently. He has those big ears, of course, which are aiding him quite well in the savannah. He's one of the few creatures who still has all of his energy left. So I think he's going to stay here for now, just to remain near the babies, because he is quite worried about the future of their tribe too. But he'll keep sending our beacons deeper and deeper into the savannah grasses, and Kirkir can follow as a guard. Dukuta will have to lend a paw when it comes to sniffing out places to bury all of these tribe mates. Oh, Onyx, you have so much work ahead of you. Let's see if you can find any sort of roots to dig up over here. It's a bit difficult because poison-fanged creatures are really not good at smelling. So he might need to enlist the help of somebody with a better sense of smell. Yeah, no roots just yet, but I'm sure you guys will be able to find something. I'll bet you, Harmony, you must be able to smell tons and tons of roots, right? Yeah, all out here by Melody's home. Though I can't imagine that our shamans would go so far to bury their ancestors, unless there was some sort of deeper meaning behind it. But I'll bet Harmony is all too eager to see the homelands for herself. This half of the Flames would love nothing more than to meet all of those new faces. And she has very little that would connect her to Melody's image, so she might be able to make a home there after all. It just depends if she has any hidden powers herself. Hopefully she's not going to find that she's putting other creatures in danger in the process. Melody must be getting very fed up by Dusty's pestering, but he is going to follow this trail all the way to the end. Best case scenario, maybe we'll actually find somebody out here? Somebody to potentially take in? We do have those nests in the area, so that has to be a good sign. But we're all out of turns now, so let's go ahead and skip the day. Keep a close eye on all of those, oh my gosh, fires? Maybe not. Oh my goodness, Ash. Was that actually enough to bring Vankir onto your side? It seems as if that may be the case. It must be his nosing around for berries that drew Vankir's eye. He knows you're trying your best, and with the rainfall, this would be a great way to sniff out some new big berry bushes to pick from. And oh my goodness, Hornet, look how many berries you have over here. You're actually going to need somebody's help to pick that very final berry. Let's have Zircon do the job, I guess? We might as well, so you can meet the newest baby of the family. And then Wildfire. Oh, you must be so happy to pick all of these berries from your mother's bush. What a perfect way for you to remember her, too. We'll bring him back around to this side, so we can settle right by his mother's grave. And now the beacons can feast, too. Oh, you must be so happy to Duke. Maybe he's thinking that this is all his doing. Maybe he thinks that the gods are blessing him instead. And he might not be wrong. Maybe they are truly rewarding him for all of his efforts. But look at this. There's that extra berry bush that Dukirvan left for us. It must have been covered up again by the grass, because quite a few of these patches grow back in the savannah, so we'll have to try to keep a closer eye on that in the future. Unfortunately, the rainfall does a little for our root situation, so poor little Onyx, you still have quite a long ways to go before you'll find a good place to settle your mother down. Maybe that's why we need Sapphire's connection to her ancestors. With that lovely crown of bones on her head, maybe she'll be able to sense out those perfect areas with ease. She would perhaps be the most connected to her ancestors in general, just because she was born on the very same day that her mother passed away. But it seems as if your journey was not in vain, little Dusty, because you have managed to spy a new berry bush for us to pick from. Not one of the larger ones, unfortunately, but I'll bet that would concern him a little bit. Maybe he would wonder if all of their berry bushes were swept away in the fires. I wonder if those ashes are just going to stay here forever, or if they're going to disappear after some time. Maybe allow other things to grow in its place. Because otherwise, eventually this whole island would be ashes, right? I guess that's why you're probably not meant to stay in the savannah for very long. Oh dear. What's going on here? Oh my gosh. B, you found the other rogue male. Well, thank goodness, it looks like her immunity genes are still different. So B, you are just like literally going to be the mother of our lean-bodied line. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. Again, that's just another way for us to weasel the lean body into our genetics. The question is this just another baby for Hornet to raise? Or have you actually caught the eye of our other rogue male wanderer? Is there something going on between you two, maybe? Very, very mysterious. But let's make sure Vankir's followers are still making their way deeper into the grass. We'll have Vanta scoot up here, so he should be able to make room for Petal as she makes her way toward what will hopefully be some food. It's actually quite bare out here. But maybe if we keep traveling toward the northern portion of the island. We haven't been toward this bluebird tail yet. So maybe that's where Vankir is hiding all of his food. It would make sense because then only the most ambitious of creatures would be able to find his stash. So let's have Ash take point as one of the beacons, and we'll see what we can find. But I think that might once again be just about the end. Oh, of course, we have Harmony over here, who is still quite enjoying all of Valentine's stories. I think the only thing holding her back now is the fact that her family isn't quite so willing to leave their home of ashes over here, this ring of ashes. Maybe Medley is even trying to pull her away so she doesn't get swept away by Valentine's grand stories. But at this point, I think it's a bit of a lost cause. I think she's going to join him as he returns to bring all of this lovely food back to his family, and maybe even potentially start a family of his own. So one of the things I am going to do for them is place the no albinism, that's what it's called, the no albinism trait into their mutation menu. Because they do both have albinism in their inactive traits, so we could end up with more albino babies. But in all honesty, I think we have enough beacons for now. So it would be good for our story if we could try to keep that number a little bit lower, just so they don't become overabundant. That doesn't mean that we'll never see the albinism on their babies though. Only if we actually pull that out of their mutation menu. So if an albino baby really wants to be born in that family, then we'll know that it was meant to be. We'll give Valentine the stinky tail to hopefully pull that out of her genetics too, so we can keep the stinky-tailed babies strong in our line as well. And then last but not least, the water body. One of the few things that could potentially connect her to Melody if her babies were in fact born with it. So we'll have them breed, and then we'll have them start making their way back to the territory, picking up berries as they go, of course, and hopefully Valentine will be able to find her a good nest to use. They have so many to choose from, I don't think it'll be too hard. We just have to find one that no other families are using right now. So since nobody is giving birth yet, let's just zoom out and skip the day. Watch as the rain unfortunately leaves us. Oh my gosh, our first Bearyena? I was starting to think that there were no Bearyenas at all in the savannah. Oh my gosh, Medley, and at the exact moment that your sister just leaves you too. And not only that, but we also have a rogue male wandering in this grass. So Kirkir, now might be your time to shine. We want to make sure that he's not going to get to wildfire if they would end up with sick babies. But he looks like a little flame himself. Unfortunately, he doesn't even have the lean body. It's only the medium body. So I think we're going to want to just get rid of him, chase him straight out of the territory. Oh my gosh, Kirkir, you are a literal beast. Maybe we need you over here to protect Medley instead. And I mean, poor Medley. His sister just left him, so nobody is really going to know that he's having trouble out here. Let's have him use a couple of his turns to hopefully take care of some of his lifespan. Did you really breed with Petal? It doesn't even look like she's pregnant. No, she's not. Okay, I guess it didn't work. Well, again, the lean body is something that I really wouldn't mind bringing into our tribe. So maybe we will actually have Petal go ahead and breed with this rogue male too. We'll just want to make sure that her mutation menu is set up as well. Maybe with the big nose, like we did for Bee's babies, because that would be a great thing for our followers of Vankir to have. That way they can sniff further into the grass and find those berry bushes once and for all. So I guess it's only fitting, since you guys did just stumble into a nest, we'll have you use this one if your rogue male buddy wouldn't mind getting himself off of it first. There we go. Stealing our nests too. The nerve of that guy. He is clearly not as shy as his brother was. I really miss that little guy, and I'm sure Hornet does too. But Vanta and Ash can keep making their way into the grass, sniff around again just in case. But now back to a more pressing issue. As Medley tries to decide whether he should use his next turn to hit the Bearyenas again, or maybe just run away. Maybe we'll have him scoot off into the grass to try to lose the Bearyenas, and hopefully his orange fur will be enough to keep him hidden. Typically that wouldn't help their camouflage very much, but I'd imagine in the savannah it might actually be a little bit of a benefit. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully he won't lose too much of his lifespan because of this, as Harmony pretty much leaves her family in the dust. I'm sure our tribe would be very curious to meet this new creature, so we'll bring Wildfire a bit closer, maybe have Harmony pick some berries for them, and then sniff around a little bit too with that big nose of hers. Oh, look at that! She finally found a root for you to use, Onyx. Oh, there you go. Now you have a way to finally set one of those many skeletons to rest. And just in time too, because Sapphire has grown her second gem. So that means she can join her brother as they try to dig out all of these graves. He finally doesn't have to work all alone anymore. Let's bring Sapphire all the way to Harmony's side. That way she can be present too when her first baby is born. And fingers crossed it's going to give us that extra luck that we need. It's a good thing that Zircon is so close to Bee's side, because now we can truly test that out. See if the luck of the shamans was all that we were missing in our previous generations. So let's scoot you out of this nest, Soot. We'll give you your yellow gems just like Hornet, and then we'll make room for your new little sibling. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of this. If Bee would leave this child with Hornet as well, or if maybe she actually was hoping for some more children to raise of her own. Maybe having Soot was all she really needed to activate those motherly instincts again. And she realized that she really missed having little babies by her side. Either way, I feel like they're all going to end up raising these babies together, so it really doesn't matter who's taking care of who. Now you guys back here, you have our very last turns to take care of, so Melody can scoop up all of those berries, as Dusty tries to find more clues off by the ashes. And look what he has stumbled into. One of the permanent nests. Oh my gosh, that would have been perfect if Melody could have gotten there before her mate passed away. That would have been the best place for her to have her babies, in all honesty. But that's interesting because it does mean that there were definitely some creatures there before us. Somebody was living there, and somebody probably got chased off by the flames, because that seems to be the most active area for our wildfires. That might even be where Vanta's family came from, but with 3 more babies being born on this turn, let's see what Harmony's baby is going to look like first. Her very first baby. Oh my gosh. And you actually look so much like Medley, who unfortunately I did hear is having a very rough day back here. Oh my gosh, little guy. This Bearyena took off so much of your lifespan. Luckily, he should be able to take care of it now, but he's going to have to stumble his way to his mother's side to see if she can find a way to heal him. That's actually perfect for them, because technically this family is still part of our healing line. On the previous island, they used to look for the water-breathing fruits to heal our tribe mates with when they took damage. So it's kind of interesting that she, with the water body, a creature who can never truly use the water like it was intended, is now going to have the very difficult task of healing her son thrust upon her shoulders. She certainly wouldn't consider herself to be the best candidate for the job, considering all of her other awful powers. But I think we're going to name this little baby Alto, and then we'll head on over to the rogue male's babies to see if any of them were a little bit more lucky. So Petal, let's focus on you first. Does your baby have the lean body? No, unfortunately it's only in the inactive traits again. You know, it might be one of those genes where you have to have 2 of the trait for it to actually show up on the baby. So we might truly need to unlock it in the mutation menu first. Oh, wait a second. Oh, this little baby has it. Well, naturally, I feel like his name is going to have to be Flea then, to keep up with his family's insect-related theme, of course, but also because he's the very first of our creatures with the lean body. So we're getting there slowly but surely. That will ensure that he should be able to move around the savannah with ease. And if we breed that into the rest of our lines, then maybe we won't have to worry so much when the heat waves start bearing down again. I think we'll go ahead and name Petal's first baby Blossom, maybe as a little tribute to Vankir too, as a way to keep him appeased. But in the next episode, our main concern is going to be Medley, of course, as we finish off this Bearyena and make sure that he can make it back to his mother's side. This poor little guy. I'm sure he didn't expect to be left behind by his sister of all creatures. So he let his guard down at just the wrong time. And of course, that's when these Bearyenas would swoop in to attack us. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!